that I have. If anybody has questions, please feel free to, at the end, to write down as it was said, and we'll chat about it. So just gonna get right straight into it. So I'm going to be giving a talk on designing for human psychology. So it's titled, I'm not a user, I am human. So we're just gonna jump right straight into it. So I know that we have people who identify themselves as user experience designers or user experience.
I don't know if you have a presentation because we currently see your Gmail. I don't know if you're sharing the right screen.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me. This is what I was afraid of.
Usability issue.
Is it? Let's blame that here. Let me start presenting. Perhaps I presented the window entire screen. I think that's what I need. Okay.
We now see the meeting.
Okay, switch coming over then.
Something is happening. There we go, that's better.
Full screen now. Okay.
Yes, thanks.
Sweet. Thank you for that. So yes, as I was saying, I'll be presenting on this topic on designing for human psychology. Title: I'm not a user, I'm human. Now, as I was saying, that most of us here probably identify as user experience designers or user experience enthusiasts. So this may be too much of a bold statement for me to start off with, but pretty much I don't like the word user in user experience design. And I'm just going to explain why that term user doesn't quite resonate, or it contradicts what we consider user-centered design. So when you Google up the word user, pretty much, if you look up the definition, it will pretty much tell you that it's an individual or an entity who uses or operates something. Now, that is where I have a problem with the word, especially when we as experience designers utilize it, is because it pretty much constrains people into someone who's using a product or a service. So if I pretty much have an application, and whenever I refer to people that are using my application, I'm referring to them as only people who are users, and defining them and restricting them to pretty much completing certain tasks using something, and instead of there being more complexity around people. Because we must not forget that we are not robots. Robots are the ones that are programmed to complete certain tasks, and they are specific to a task. So when people come in, yes, they're using that particular product at a time, but there is more complexity in us needing to define people as users. So it can limit, it can be limiting and doesn't fully capture the essence of people or the essence of a human being, as to we are more than the task we do. We are more than however we are defined within the constraints of your products. So we have unique experiences, all of us, which are different, and those experiences and ideas and thoughts, they need to be catered in. So for example, we have thoughts. So whenever I come into your application or your product, whenever I come to use something, I have thoughts before I even enter into your space. I have experiences outside of whatever product you're offering me, for example, as a human being. And those experiences, they also define my perception as well. And outside of experiences, I have feelings. So even before I come into contact with your product or services, I have feelings. So I'm more than just an entity or an individual using your product. I am a bit more complex. I have feelings, I have experiences, and I have thoughts beyond your product or your service. When before I come into contact with you or I engage with you, I have all these things, and even after that, I will continue to live life outside of your product. So we need to start thinking about the complexities that human beings have instead of just restricting them to tasks that you have. Press here, press there, read here, read there. So we are more complex than you just trying to pretty much like robots program us to do specific tasks. This is how people usually will introduce themselves. They'll say, hi, I'm Patu, for example. In this case, the guy with glasses and with crooked teeth. I am married and I am expecting my first child. My wife is pregnant. We are very much excited about that. I'm also a product. I'm a group manager in MTN Group FinTech. I focus on product design and design system. I'm currently writing a book about this very topic that I'm giving you here today. And generally, I'm a lazy person, and that worked out well for me because I also married a person who's on the lazy side as well. For example, recently we wanted to go to a concert, and we bought the tickets and everything. And on the day, a few hours before the concert, we just looked at each other and we were like, no, let's not. So we ended up just deciding not to go simply because we just didn't feel like going and we're just lazy to go. And we just ended up giving away the tickets that we had bought. So, and the reason I'm trying to introduce myself in this manner is just to show the complexities that an individual or a human has within themselves. And you may have things that are different to mine. You may identify yourself differently to how I identify myself. And even with us as human beings, we also have contradictions. For example, I pretty much identify myself as a lazy person, but at the same time, I'm writing a book, which can sound a little bit contradictory. So there are those contradicting moments within humans. So that is just to highlight the complexities that human beings have as opposed to just us pretty much reducing those complexities of human beings into the word user or into an individual who uses my product or an individual who I want to use my product. So that's which I spoke about. That's what makes us human, right? So that this statement here pretty much just emphasizes on the essence of humanity, right? So it suggests that our unique qualities and experiences, those are what defines us, not just a specific task, not just a specific thing within or a specific moment within a timeline, but the experiences that we've gathered throughout our lifetime as well. And this is just something to also reflect on your end as well, to say, if you are also this complex, what about the people that you design for? So do they have the same complexities or their own complexities? And is it fair for you to just only not consider all the other complexities that they may have, all their experiences, all their feelings outside of your own scenarios or your own use cases, just for you to say, I only see you as a person who uses my product. So just consider how these traits influence your interactions and also the decision making that you may do in the future when you're designing other products. Now, what does it matter for us to consider or people as humans and everything that comes with being human, whether it's challenges, whether it's success, whether it's pain, whether it's failure, whether it's loss, all the good and the terrible. We've all experienced highs in our lifetime, and we've all experienced the loss, whether you've lost somebody and that stays with you, whether you experience a traumatic event in your past and it is stuck with you, or whether you've had joys and happiness throughout your life, but there are always the highs and lows. So why does it matter for us to ensure that whenever we're designing for people, we don't see them only in one lens, but in all the lenses possible? It's simply because of persuasion. So you may have heard that when people say, okay, when you're designing, you make things simple, make things fast. That's all well and good. But at the end of it, there's only truly one goal that we're trying to get to whenever we're designing. And that is to persuade the people that are using our products to take an action. So for you to persuade me successfully, you need to understand me. And for you to understand me, you need to put yourself in my shoes and you need to understand everything that I come with. That is why we do user personas, for example. Even with user personas, you will look at geographical locations, you will look at race, you will look at backgrounds, you will look at different things because you're trying to understand the people that you're trying to serve. And persuasion, that is the key to all this design. That is what we're doing. Whether you are in corporate, if you're working for a corporate organization like myself, my job is to make money for the business. How do I make money? I ensure that I persuade people to use money with our products. I'm not talking about dark patterns, but I'm just saying we need to persuade people to take an action that will result in some sort of ROI. Then I will also have a job as well at the end of the day. Because if I'm not doing that, I will not have a job. If you're working for fintech, again, your role is to persuade people to use whatever products that you're building, right? Whether it's a startup, if it's a startup needs to raise money. For startups to raise money, our investors needs to see that there's potential of getting money back. So that means that we need to build products that actually generate money. How do we generate money? Whether it's B2B or customer base, whoever is a person that we're targeting to use our products, they need to spend money on it. Even if you're a sole entrepreneur, at the end of it, the goal is let's persuade someone to take an action, and that action can then result in an ROI. But for you to be able to persuade people, you need to understand them. And I've pointed out two things in this presentation that I just want to talk about in terms of highlighting and what we need to focus on when we're looking at persuasion. So the first one is I'm cultured. So everyone here comes from different backgrounds. And in those different backgrounds, you have different cultures, and those different cultures come with different traditions. And all of those things, they shape our perspectives. So they shape how we see the world. How I'm going to see the world is not how you're going to see the world. And how I see the world as well is not always how my wife sees the world. So we perceive things differently simply because of how we were raised, what our background looked like, what we were exposed to when growing up, and even to this day as well. So that culture is pretty much, or it builds my values, my beliefs, and also the biases that I will have. Now, when I come into your product or when I engage with your service, I'm going to bring with me the values that I have, the beliefs that I have, the biases that I have. So I may find something in your in your platform, for example, that I may not agree with or that may go against my belief, and that will create a certain perception that I have of your products. And also the biases that I bring as well, you may either challenge them successfully or not, but I'm also going to bring those biases into how I engage with you as well. So those are just some of the things that we need to consider, that when people come to engage with us and they interact with our platforms, they are coming with all these different things, and they all these things, they mold the perception of what they're going to think about our products that we have. Also, another thing with being cultured is we need to consider that people want a sense of belonging. So we all come from a certain type of culture, from different parts of the world, different types of tribes, and the likes. Now, the desire to belong is a fundamental aspect of our identity. So if you want to successfully persuade me, you need to make me feel like I belong to you or you belong to me. So we need to belong together. That's how you will be able to successfully persuade me. If I'm going to give you my money, I need to have, there needs to be a sense of trust. There needs to be a sense of togetherness. So we speak about um, blue speech bubbles versus green speech bubbles, and you will have people that are so uh, dedicated to Apple or an iPhone, for example, and they will never use any other device, and the like. There'll be people that are so dedicated to Android, they will never use iPhone, regardless of if there's an Android device that is better than Apple, which some of you guys may disagree right now, but people will still feel the need to defend their identity, their tribe, because everybody wants to feel like they belong to something. That is the same reason why we are here today, is because we all want to belong in this UX tribe, right? This UX community. We all need a community for us to survive. So if I'm engaging and you're building an experience which you're catering for me, I need to feel like I am part of that experience, and you see me the way that I see you, in that we belong together, we're part of the same people, and we have the same vision. So, and also the last one, design for what I know. So it is essential to design based on what people know and what people understand. Again, we know our values, we know our beliefs, we know our desires, we have experiences that have molded those biases, whether rightly or wrongly so, that have molded those values and that have molded those beliefs, and also how we interpret the world. So if you want, again, to persuade me to be part of your community, you need to build based off of what I understand. And if I understand you, I'm going to see you as my tribe. And if I see you as my tribe, I will then also give my full commitment to you as well. The second part is I'm emotional. I'm not.
So, but did you stop sharing your screen?
No.
Please share
Okay.
again.
All right. No worries. Okay. Let me know if it's up again.
It's loading. I can see your browser.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
Suits. Thank you for that. So yes, I was saying the second part is I'm emotional. So make me feel something. If I'm engaging with you, whether it's on a digital platform, whether it's a lived out experience, make me feel something and I will remember you. What we've noticed in this or at least what I've noticed, is that a lot of platforms, they don't have emotions anymore. So it's pretty much do this, step one, step two, step three, and then you're out, and then that's it. So everything feels a little bit robotic these days, and there isn't emotion injected into it. Because I can't even remember, I don't know about you guys, when the last time I used an application and I smiled, not because of the content that I was seeing in the application, but because of the application in itself. Whether it's a little tick at the end of a successful transaction, a little animation, but just make me feel something. For example, we all remember movies that made us feel some type of way. You may have felt sad after watching a movie, maybe because your favorite character died, or it may be a movie that was so action packed from beginning to the end, such that you were excited throughout. However, or whatever the emotion you may have felt, you probably remember that movie and you probably rate it quite high. And that is what we also need to do as well with our experiences. Granted, we don't want people to feel bad in our experiences, but rather make me feel something than nothing. Because if I don't feel nothing, I'm not even going to remember you. But if I feel bad after you experience, yes, I felt bad, but potentially I may give you another chance because at least I will remember you. I will talk about you. Maybe I may give you another chance. So that is just to say, evoking feelings in people with your products is very crucial. And because if it's something that resonates emotionally with people, they will remember it and they will hold on to it. So let's not make our journeys and platforms or our engagements so robotic such that we forget that we're dealing with people and we need for them to be able to persuade them, we need to get in touch with the emotional side. So those are the two things that I just wanted to share, and just to say at the end of it all, do not forget that I am human. I am not the robot that you're designing for that is programmed to do a specific task. When I come to engage with you, I have lived out experiences that I'm bringing in to the engagement with you, and that is going to inform my perception of you. And also, when I leave that engagement as well, I'm going to continue living out my life until the next time I engage with you. And I may have different experiences that may have now changed the initial perception that I had of life or of everything around me. So when you're designing for people, understand the complexities. You're not designing for robots, you are designing for human beings. And we are more than just the tasks that we do. So just a reminder, we all have experiences and we have emotions. Learn the emotions of the people that you are targeting, and let's carry out this understanding as well into the different interactions that we will have in future. Whatever projects you're working on, whatever it is that you're building, don't forget that you're building for people. And let's try to not use the word user anymore. Well, at least I try not to do that, because I've seen that it has impacted the way that I think about people. I tend to forget that it's people that we're dealing with, instead of just restricting everybody to only a task that I want them to achieve. Thank you.
So I was hanging on your lips there. This was really inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I'm wondering how you go about practically implementing this strategy in your design work.
So let me just stop sharing here. Okay. So personas, right? I think that's at the center of everything. And also, if you look at personas, we are trying to understand empathy. whenever we look at personas. So that empathy is the one that is going to drive us to understand the customers that we are looking at. And also with personas as well, it's not just a matter of saying, okay, people within this age range or people who live here. We need to get deeper into the geographical elements of it, the cultures of it, because just simply because, okay, I am Patu, I'm 33, I live in Joburg. Um, the same person with the same attributes that I just pointed out will have a totally different lived out experiences than I have. And they probably have a different culture to what I have, and also the way they've been brought up. So everything that they have may also be different to how I have, which would then influence how I see the world. So my perception, whether we're the same age, we live in the same area, we may do the same job, but it doesn't mean that we see the world in the same way. So I think in terms of us going into looking at user personas, we just need to be a little bit more mindful and just dig a little bit deeper into exactly what sort of perception or what sort of life experiences are we trying to target in the people that we are looking at.
100%. I agree with you there. I find that many designers create personas and they never refer back to it. It's almost like a tick box, like, yes, I created the persona, now I can move on to the next step. Rather than keeping that persona updated, as you said, your life experiences and your perception changes over time.
That's true.
There goes my word. My 5 cents from my side. What I like doing is to remember that I have to say this, sorry, it's a habit, your user isn't there to be on your platform 50% of the time, 90% of the time, majority of the time. They are there as a means to an end. So if someone is using a banking app, they don't want to sit there and look at numbers. They want to know that they're saving for their child's education. Or if someone is making an appointment on your application to visit a doctor, the goal isn't to see the doctor. The goal is to be healthy. I am currently working with a bank, and I did a site visit last week where I spoke to the bank manager, and I said to her, why is your bank different from all the others in the same mall? And she said, we want our clients to live better, and to live better, we need to get them out of the bank and back to their lives. And in a way, as designers, we should also try to make design invisible to get people back to their lives. But also, like you said, the moment that we do have them captured and we do have their attention, make it delightful. Go that extra step, add the little tick mark, greet them, just add that little bit of magic.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're rightly, you hit it on the nail there. People, as I was saying, or the example that you gave, it is not about us keeping people here at the bank or at the branch. It's about us saying, look, we're going to make your life easy. And for us to do that, we're going to make sure that your experience here at the back is as short as possible so that you go and live out your life. So I think you really hit it on the nail there.
Oh, that's it. Any more questions, comment, please feel free to unmute your mic and just comment and ask questions. Anyone? You can go on, Anton.
Hi, Patu. I wanted to ask I know your talk was centered more on human emotion and belonging, but I've been thinking about the rise of AI in design lately. And my question to you is, do you think AI risks stripping away the emotional aspects you spoke about? Or could it actually help us design experiences that feel more human-centered?
Yeah, that's a tricky question, and you might get a different answer depending on who you ask. So a lot of people will tell you that, well, yes, AI is here. AI is not going to take away the human need within the process. So that may be true, but what I can say is the human need or the need to belong is based off of the empathy that the other person has of me. So if I'm engaging with you, because you're human, you can sense empathy and you can replicate it. So that is what I need from the interaction of a human being. So now then the question becomes, can AI ever get to a point wherein it can replicate empathy? Now, granted, it can never be an authentic empathy because it doesn't have feelings, it doesn't have experiences, it doesn't have culture. But can it ever get to a point wherein it can replicate it enough to say, well, maybe it just feels like I'm talking to a human being. You can go to a chatbot, maybe you can chat to it and you can feel like you're talking to a human being. For example, there's a startup that is working on quote unquote a best friend that is an AI. So it's pretty much an AI that is meant to be your friend, to console you whenever you're feeling down, to celebrate with you whenever you're in a celebratory mode. So that is what they're attempting to do, to try and mimic human empathy. As to whether that will be successful or not, I guess time will tell. But I wouldn't rule it out, at least to say, for it to be basic enough, or at least for basic engagements, such that you may feel like you're talking to a human being to a certain point at the very least. But to summarize it all, I don't know. I guess time will tell. But I don't see why not at the rate in which things are going.
Beyond had his hand up earlier. I don't know if it was, did you click on the wrong button? Do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to also add that I will be waiting for your book. But yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Most of the stuff that he ended up saying at the end is what I wanted to say, and kind of my topic kind of touches a bit on that as well. So yeah.
That's it.
Puzzle, what's the topic of your book?
So it's pretty much titled this, I'm not a user, I'm a human. So consider this as a test run.